Test 1, 2. Check. How's everyone doing today? How's everyone doing? What is up, chat? Let me close my door real quick. All right. There we go. All right, so we are good. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. What? It's showing the stream. Hold on. Oh, there we go. Okay. All right. I was wondering what was wrong with it. Something did look wrong with it. Couldn't quite put my finger on it. I'm like, why does Global Comics look so weird? All right. Something around here should be good. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you scroll all the way down to the bottom, refresh, you will see. What? What? Hold on. Hold on. Scheduled for today. Oh, it's not 5 o'clock yet. That would be why the volume 7 hasn't launched yet. It's not 5 o'clock. But yeah, so the volume 7 is about to launch, ladies and gentlemen. It is about to launch. And I just wanted to pop on and do a stream celebrating that fact, celebrating the fact that Volume 1 almost has 17,000 views. In fact, it's gone up by another 100 since the last stream, which is always awesome to see. Continual viewership on stuff is really solid. That means that your stuff is constantly getting looked at. And not only that, but people don't just see the title, like the cover. They also see the fact that they're reading the comic, the fact that it's counting as a view means they're actually clicking on the comic and reading it, which is awesome. It feels amazing. I love it every time, man. I love it. I love checking this out and seeing just how much views this has got. Is crazy. And again, I don't do promoting, really. I really don't do any kind of advertising or anything like that. Like, I'm not the Rippaverse posting on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube all the time. I'm not doing that. I don't have a budget, so I just have been I've been just chilling, just saving my money on advertising and instead just using on other stuff. But man, I mean, it's genuinely amazing how much this has grown, how much this has grown from its beginning. And I always gotta thank you guys. I always gotta thank you guys so much for doing this and really sticking with it, really sticking with the series and reading it and just staying interested, man. And part of that is, of course, on me for telling a good story, but also part of that is on you for enjoying the good story and wanting to see where it goes next. So thank you guys so much just for tuning in and celebrating with me as Volume 7 goes live. I'm going to do a little bit of a recap through the previous volumes and kind of go from there, just kind of show you where we've been, where we started, and what to expect next. So I'm just gonna go through quickly and kind of summarize the series, and then I'll show you a little bit of art. I'll show you a little bit of art of Volume 7 and talk about some behind the scenes stuff. No spoilers. There's gonna be no spoilers for this stream as far as Volume 7 goes. There is gonna be spoilers for everything previously because I'm doing a summary of this. But so if you're watching this and you haven't read Little Miss Steele, what are you doing? Go read Little Miss Steele right now. I'm gonna put a hat on because my hair is too messy. I feel bad about it. I'm gonna put a hat on. There we go. I look a lot. Is this cool? Is this a cool style right here? The forehead man, is that cool? How about this? All right, that's a little bit better. Anyways, if you haven't read Little Miss Steele, go and read it right now. It's totally free to read, and Volume 7 is also free to read. Just, have a blast with it. Keep in mind the idea that I'm going with. I'm trying to recreate the feeling of a 2000s cartoon in comic book form. So if that's what you're into, if you grew up watching some of the greatest stuff like Teen Titans and Justice League and Danny Phantom and the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle series from '03. If you grew up watching all those great action cartoons of that decade and even the '90s, you will enjoy this. You will enjoy this series because it's taking a lot of the things that work from that and applying it to a new story with a familiar tone, familiar setting, kind of feel to it. It feels nostalgic even though you've never read it before. So go ahead, check it out. But if you have seen it already, let's go ahead and get the summary out of the way, ladies and gentlemen. So, Volume 1, where it all begins. V, this girl here, she's the daughter of two superheroes. She doesn't want to be a superhero. She just wants to be in a band with her friends right here. Like, this is one of her friends here, Amy. She just wants to play the drums. And what ends up happening is her parents are, of course, naturally being superheroes. They're trying to get her to follow in their footsteps and use her powers to help people. Night Vision especially, her father is a lot more pushy about it, whereas Miss Steel is a little more compassionate about it. And what ends up happening is she ends up running out of the house and running into her friends, literally running into the van and hitting her head. But, of course, she's not hurt because she's hard-headed. Joke. So they go to the school to get their instruments, and they're about to head to Phoenix for the summer to play at different shows and their dream of getting big in the rock industry. And as they're about to leave, suddenly something touches down from the heavens, and this is Miss Steel. She's been shot down by Death Metal, this guy in this mech suit. And I'll go ahead and skip through to that action scene real quick. This guy right here, Death Metal. And what ends up happening is she ends up getting... This dog. Little Miss Steel ends up getting very upset by this naturally and starts fighting Death Metal. Of course, she gets her butt handed to her, and Miss Steel is taken away. Her friends find her crash-landed at her house, and she calls her dad. She's trying to get her dad to come help her, but of course Night Vision is very, very cold, very distant, and is just telling her to stay at the house, to not get involved. She's only going to slow him down in his investigation on what happened to his wife. Their heart link has been severed, so he no longer feels her heartbeat anymore, which means that she's dead. And he doesn't have time for his daughter. He only has time for revenge, essentially. And what V ends up feeling is her mom's heartbeat. It's severed with Night Vision, but it started back with V. And so now she knows that her mom is alive, knows that she can be saved, and her friends take a teleporter, which is in the bunker below the house, to a long abandoned base that used to be Night Vision's in Phoenix. And she's going to use the supplies in there, the costume, the gadgets, and half of her powers that have been inherited from her mother. She's going to use that and train to actually get revenge on Death Metal and save her mom. And so that is Volume 1. That is basically what happens in Volume 1. That's the inciting incident, the setup for the rest of the series, and to give you an idea of how fun the series is going to be. Very. And Volume 2 follows this almost immediately after she is fighting her first supervillain. This is Stonehold. She goes to fight him the first time, gets her butt handed to her, and comes back all angry and all that. Of course, her friends are telling her, why don't you relax and shower because you're covered in mud. Cool down, and then maybe you can come back to this with a little more strategy. So this volume also has a lot of setup to it. A lot of villains appear. For instance, I'll show you the page of LeJohn. LeJohn's kind of the tech guy of the group, and he's looking through this old computer to figure out how it works, how to use the teletunnel, and all this sort of stuff. And he finds the villain database. And what he finds here are a bunch of names that get shown, where 2 of them have not been shown yet, but they will appear later on. But most of them on here have appeared. Dr. Cooper appeared in the Christmas special as a joke. Stonehold obviously appears this volume. Pterodactyl and Pyrex have not appeared yet, but Violin at the bottom there, she'll make her appearance in Volume 7, and then Madame Yvette, which definitely appears in Volume 6. And this sets up a lot of villains to appear later on, and a lot of plot points that get delivered on a few volumes later after this. So their setup and payoff, I wanted to really emphasize that I've set this up from the beginning, and it's been really fun to do. But anyways, the rematch that happens now that V has more information goes much more in her favor. She's able to fight Stonehold much better this time and hold her own, but Stonehold still inevitably gets the better of her. In the end, Night Vision bails her out, and they have an argument where she's refusing to back down. She is going to be Little Miss Steel, and she is going to save Mom. Night Vision still believes that she's dead and that V is just coping, that she's still alive. Because the heart link has been severed. He refuses to believe that Tatiana would sever the heart link between them to start one with her. He feels like she's dead. But V is adamant, so instead of arguing further, Night Vision drops an emergency radio to contact him if she really needs him, and some frost bangs. Frost bangs are basically just flash bangs, but they freeze people. And so that is Volume 2. There's a flashback scene that shows Raymond Clank, which is death metal. Back in the 80s, he used to be a hero called Power Metal. And in this first encounter with Miss Steel, they get in a fight, and he gets his arm busted up by her punch because she's so strong. Some of her blood, however, because she does get damaged in the fight from a missile, some of her blood ends up dropping into his arm's power core. And when the blood drops in there, it flashes red, which shows him that this is a fuel source. Her blood can be a fuel source. And so this volume establishes the fact that Raymond does this so that he can take her blood and use it as a fuel source. He can convert it to this crystal that gives energy. And we get to see in Volume 4 a little bit more of that. But first we got to take a slight detour to Volume 3. Now, this is more of a side quest. I wouldn't say it's filler because the character development is vital, but it is sort of a side quest from the main plot dealing with Raymond Clank and Miss Steel. In this one, the band has started getting a little bit of notoriety locally. They're starting to get a little bit of a following, and now they are an opening act for a much larger band, Noose Knot. Parody, not so subtle. The lead singer of this band is basically he's a solo show at this point. He just brings on other local talent to play for him wherever he goes across the country. Whenever he puts on the mask, he's Smile. And he has this manager who is actually a demon named Saul, who tricks people into signing their souls away in contracts to make them perform better as musicians. And Smile has taken this deal. Smile with the guitar. He actually summoned Saul in the first place by playing it, and Saul tricks him into signing this contract, which dooms his soul. And so he's been doing this for a little bit. He goes to a music store to burn it down so that he can stop any kind of competition from rising up, and giving him rivalry in the music scene. V starts beating him up, but he ends up escaping thanks to Saul. And around this time, it's revealed that Amy, unfortunately, sweet Amy, has been tricked into signing a contract, and now her personality is changing. She is becoming a bit more brash and hateful, and now she feels like she's too good for her band. So she drops them to join with Smile and Noose Knot, and it's at this point that the band kind of catches on that something's not right, and they need to bring Smile and Saul down to save Amy. At this point, V is starting to feel her mom's heartbeat less. She's starting to feel like her mom's getting weaker or something, but she's still hanging on hope that she can save her. The fight breaks out, and V fights Saul. Saul gets his outfit ruined by one of her discs that she throws out, and this causes him to become enraged and turn into a bull monster. V is able to hold off long enough for Amy to snap out of control of the possession and take the guitar and smash it, returning all the demons back to hell from whence they came. And with Noose Knot being knocked out and only them to play the show, the crowd gets to see a full show from Murder Machine, the band. So they get a pretty good amount of viewership to their live performance, which is a big boost to them. Now we return to the main plot. Volume 4, ladies and gentlemen, Volume 4 is just one big fight scene between Little Miss Steel and death metal, but it's not the death metal we know. No, this is a suit being piloted by Raymond's AI assistant, Iris, and with the body, the unconscious body of Jeremiah Armstrong in it. And now Armstrong is a CEO of a rival weapons and robotics company that has had a long history versus Raymond Clank and his company. And at this point, Raymond Clank is trying to feign innocence and is giving a tour to V and the rest of the band. He reveals that he knows that V is Little Miss Steele and holds them captive on his floor so that he can talk to her freely and explain himself. And he basically manipulates V, who hasn't felt her mom's heartbeat in a week at this point, manipulates V into believing that she's dead by comparing her to his own mother, who died in 9/11. The story takes place in 2002, by the way, so that's still pretty fresh. And so what this does is it possibly explains why Raymond Clank waited 20 years after finding out that Miss Steele's blood is a power source potentially. He waited 20 years to act on this, and that's because he one of the reasons that you can surmise, not the only reason, but one of the reasons you can guess, but it's never fully stated, is that his mom dying from 9/11 pushed him to obtain this forbidden fuel source to power his weapons so that terrorists can never strike again. Of course, he benefits greatly from the fact that he has this fuel source that no one else has to power his weapons to be the most destructive possible. He's already a billionaire. He's going to be a trillionaire with this kind of money that the U.S. government and possibly other governments might be willing to give him for these weapons. And because of this, it's obviously a selfish motivation for him to do this, but there's a possibility that deep down there is a little bit of good idea there, bad execution perhaps. But also, Volume 7 is now live. I'll refresh. There it is, folks. There it is. Volume 7 is live. So go read that right now. Go check it out. The link is in the description of this stream, so go check it. I see a Discord notification. Yes. Volume 7 is out now. Yes. Let's see where I leave off. Oh yeah, so Volume 4, V ends up winning this fight by using a power she hasn't used yet, which is the light beams. Now this is something her mom can do. She can shoot light beams out of her fist like this. She can do it with both hands or both hands separately, or just one-handed. She can shoot beams of light from her fist. And V has seen this, but she never thought she could do this. It's only until she has a flashback while she's semi-unconscious during the fight. She wakes up and tries to do this, and she's able to muster the strength to do this to defend her friends from getting blasted by death metal. And she wins this fight, but it's not really a win. It's all kind of been orchestrated by Raymond Clank to go as quickly as possible, and not quickly, but as efficiently as possible to make her feel like the winner and to make Raymond look as innocent as possible. And after this, she passes out. She's having a hard time breathing. She doesn't seem to be healing like she should be, because she has like a slight bit of regeneration, not like a crazy amount, but she does, like, she can heal slightly. She can heal faster than a normal human because of her powers. But then we go directly into Volume 5, My Immortal. Now this is mostly taking place inside of V's mind. Her mind, metaphorically, is a storm of grief because she feels like her mom is dead. She's been successfully manipulated by Raymond Clank into thinking that she is, and she's drowning. And it takes Lady Lake, one of the Mighty Five members, it takes Lady Lake to enter her mind and talk some hope into her to get her to snap out of it. But while she's dealing with this, the rest of the Mighty Five is trying to save her, but they can't perform surgery to try and get her lungs to breathe properly. They can't perform surgery because her skin has steeled up. Her body's natural response to trauma is to steel up and protect itself. So she's hardened up around her chest and back. So Tyler Anno, the only medical wise person in the team, can't do so. He also can't do so because he's a giant T-Rex man and his hands are making the scalpel like this small. So he can't. The scalpel was like as small as his flash drive, and he can't do it. So without any other options, Night Vision is forced to beg his enemy, someone he had a falling out with 20 years ago, and that is Raymond Clank. Now, at this point, Raymond is called and actually agrees to save V. And you might wonder why he would do this if V is, a potential risk for him. Why would he save her? And it's revealed at the end of this, just before the surgery begins, during the commotion of V waking up and feeling her mom's heartbeat again because of Lady Lake's intervention. When V wakes up during the commotion, Raymond takes a syringe and gets some of V's blood and takes that back with him to his lab. And once she wakes up, everyone's really happy, but her and Night Vision, her dad, have a heart-to-heart moment. They talk about how this doesn't really make sense. Why could V beat Death Metal if her mom couldn't beat Death Metal? She's only half as strong as her, if that. How is it possible that she won this? And they both realize that this doesn't make any sense. And so naturally, the only person that could do this is Raymond Clank. Not only does he benefit by taking the suspicion off of him, by framing Armstrong, he's taking out a competitor in the weapons and robotics industry. He's also, the damage to his building caused by this is being paid out through insurance, because it wasn't him who did the damage. It was Armstrong. And, of course, the only thing left is, as evidence of his involvement, is the suit. So Night Vision goes off to grab the suit, but it ends up starting to self-destruct. And just at the right moment, Raymond, in the power metal suit that he wore from 20 years ago, flies down, takes the death metal suit up into the sky just before it explodes, and then comes down and reveals to the paparazzi, the news reporters there, he takes off the helmet and reveals that he is power metal. And now this makes him look like even more of a hero in the public's eyes. Now he is this heroic, benevolent billionaire that has taken back on the helmet, put back on the helmet so that he can do what's right and save people that need saving with Miss Steele's absence. So, obviously, that's not good for our heroes, but they persist regardless. Moving into Volume 6, which is the last one up until now, we get a payoff for what happened with Volume 2. Volume 2, we had LeJohn looking at the villain database and removing the Madame Yvette entry. Now we get to this, and this is Madame Yvette here. This is drawn... who was the artist's name? I forgot her name! Anyways, guest artist doing the cover. V is trying to do her light beams again, has had no success. But you find out the reason that LeJohn deleted this villain entry is because Madame Yvette is actually his mom. This soul-stealing vampiric lady who gets stronger the more souls she takes is his mother. And he's been trying to hide that fact and trying to live a normal life away from her since she's been in jail. Now, she was defeated by Miss Steele, which was her nemesis, but now with Miss Steele dead and her finding out about it and finding out that her daughter's running around, she's like, I gotta break out of here so that I can kill her and basically get revenge on Miss Steele by killing her daughter, while also going after the rest of the Mighty Five afterwards. But the idea is Miss Steele, wants to go save this reported zombie woman who's been lost and has come up as a zombie and is wandering around aimlessly. And LeJohn doesn't want her to go. He says that let the authorities handle it, whatever. She doesn't have to do anything. But V at this point has undergone a lot of development. She's grown a lot as a person. She initially didn't want to be a hero at all. She didn't want to use her powers for anything really but herself. Once her mother was taken, she put on the costume and started learning how to use the gadgets and powers to fight bad guys so that she could get a rematch with Death Metal, beat him up, and then save her mom. But after what happened through Volume 4 and 5, she's come out of that near-death situation a better person. She's come out of it with the mindset of she does have powers and she does need to use them for good. And what ends up happening is she, even though LeJohn is right that a missing persons case could just be handled by the local authorities, V knows that she can potentially use her powers to help, or do her part in helping find her and getting her back to her family. She is doing the right thing because it's the right thing to do. She is becoming a hero, and not just someone who puts on a costume to beat up bad guys to get stronger. No, she's actually doing this to help people. And what ends up happening is she fights Madame Yvette, realizes that her weakness is sunlight, light, just harsh light specifically, and it is sunset, so that's not very good. She tries to get back to the base, but unfortunately gets captured by Madame Yvette, which, by the way, this is my favorite fight sequence I've ever drawn so far. I feel like it's extremely good. Very fun very good flow to it, and shows off the powers, and also the personality of Madame Yvette just instantly. Within a matter of 3 pages, you know exactly who this person is. She is a wicked woman. And so basically, she gets captured. You get to see the Frostbangs get used, which is something that was set up, given to her in Volume 2. A lot of setup from Volume 2 gets paid off in Volume 6, and a little bit more that was set up in Volume 2 and 3 gets paid off in Volume 7. So I'm really excited to see you guys connect the dots. I'm not going to spoil anything. I might mention it on the spoiler stream on Wicked Wednesday next week, but it's definitely for the sharp readers, for the people who have been paying attention and remember volumes 2 and 3. A lot of dots are going to start connecting in Volume 6 and now 7. So, but anyways, she ends up getting captured, and meanwhile, Raymond Clank is enjoying the spotlight, the public endorsement of him as Power Metal. They really love him, and he's enjoying this moment. Basically, now he's on this talk show, which, by the way, is a Sharon Osbourne reference. He's called by LeJohn to help save V, because he knows if he calls Night Vision or Tyler Anno or Lady Lake, they're going to end up being ambushed by Madame Yvette, because she's expecting them. She's not expecting this guy who's been retired for 20 years to suddenly appear and come after her. So LeJohn calls him, and he says, wait a minute, ends the call, and then asks his AI assistant about the blood test results. And what he's found is that V's half human, half titanium blood becomes overridden by titanium blood when her mom's blood is introduced to hers. So basically, she's like 50-50. When her mom's 100% titanium blood gets combined into it, she becomes more titanium. And at this revelation, Raymond Clank realizes, why have one Miss Steel being a energy source battery when I can have 2? So he decides to suit up and go fight Madame Yvette so that he can have so he can save her from becoming wasted material. Is essentially how he views her. But yeah, what we get here is a pretty sick fight. Raymond is using his solar power cannon arm to fight her, and in his newly polished power metal suit. And he does this just long enough. He holds out just long enough for LeJohn to save V and come outside the abandoned warehouse. To which case, Raymond's suit has been damaged, and he says, the risk of losing my life outweighs the cost of losing yours, little Miss Steel. I'm sorry, I'm getting out of here. Showing how little of a hero he is. He's not a hero at all. He's entirely acting out of selfish interest this entire volume and this entire series. And V is genuinely being heroic. She's actually being heroic. And after not being able to use her light beams this entire volume, she realizes that with half of her power, with half of her mom's power, her mom can shoot light beams with one hand, but she has to do it two-handed. And so this revelation allows her to blast Madame Yvette, which, by the way, this action sequence also pretty good, I think. Not to toot my own horn, but I think it's a pretty freaking good sequence of action here. And another cool action page. But we get to see her get blasted by the light beam, loses all of her energy, and now this is pretty big. This is pretty big right here. This is Volume 7 is going to follow the events that are I'm about to show you and explain here. LeJohn talks to his mom and tells her that her evilness inspired him to be better than her, and because of that, he has something that she'll never have: friends. And she laughs at this, says that he's no better than her. If he had the powers that she had, he would end up just the same. And with her dying breath, as she's crumbling apart without any soul energy to her, she's crumbling to pieces. She lunges at him, grabs his face, and the black mist of her body falling apart spews out all over him. But he's like, that was a close one. I'm glad I didn't get my soul sucked out. They have a little V and him have a little heart-to-heart moment, a little cute smooch, ladies and gentlemen. They do be kissing. And it's a cute little moment that's been kind of built up throughout this. They've kind of teased at each other being romantic potentially since the beginning. So this was a nice little payoff for all of that. For all of you who have been patient and waiting for this moment, this felt pretty good. I'm assuming. But the last page, hauntingly, is LeJohn looking at the mirror of the murder machine, the van, not the band, and seeing his mother's reflection. So that is the last thing. That's where we left off with Little Miss Steele Volume 6. And now here we are 5 months later, on Volume 7. Here we are. And I want to show you a little bit. I'm not going to go through the whole thing because obviously I want you to read this. Click the link in the description of the stream to read Volume 7. I'm just going to show you a couple pages here and go from there. If I need to, I'll just turn the source on OBS off so I can click through the pages. But this cover here was, believe it or not, drawn by me. I know it doesn't look like it, but I decided, since Lynn is very 80s heavy, very like referencing the 80s a lot, not only in like her design, her whole personality. Her glory days were in the 80s because she's like 40 years old at this point. And back in the day, she was a little motorcycle hottie, and she would get into all kinds of trouble or whatever. That was the time of her life, was the 80s. That was the prime, and she hasn't really gone past that. She's still very much living in the 80s, even though it's 2002 in the story. So I changed the logo to make it look a little more retro. I kind of copied DC's format for the new Teen Titans series, specifically Volume 23, I believe it is, with where Blackfire debuted. I decided to go with that because, one, I love Teen Titans. Two, that series took place in the early 80s. And I just wanted to kind of take that and sort of copy it a little bit with the layout of this cover. So you've got like the number 7 May up there. I think it was like number 23 September, I believe is the original release of that. I might be wrong, but the little pop-up text on the cover I think is really, really retro, having it say like, her name is Violin. She's Amy Essence's wicked cool aunt, and she'll make her enemies face the music. And then having at the bottom left corner, instead of DC, it's Evie, who's ready to get wicked. So yeah, that's the cover. I know this was a very difficult thing for me to draw. Like this total departure from how I normally draw my stuff. So it was very difficult to do this, but I feel like I got it pretty good. I feel like the face I managed to get pretty good. I did use references. I looked at a close-up face drawing of Raven to really use it as like a guide for like the detail of like the shading of the cheekbones and the around the eyebrows and eyes and stuff like that, the ears and everything. Like I the hair as well. Hair detail in old comics is just absolutely crazy. And same thing with the leather. The leather, it's just a solid black color with purple highlights around the edges of it, and that worked pretty well. And again, I used Blackfire's suit, which I believe is leather, at least it looks like it, on the cover as a reference for like how to light the suit, and a close-up of Raven for how to draw the facial features and the hair detail and stuff like that. So it was very fun. It was very fun. I don't think I'll draw a comic fully like this because it took like 4 times the amount of time it normally takes for me to draw a character drawing, but it was it was very rewarding when I got done with it, and I had to put it through several different um, revisions. I showed it to a bunch of other comic artists I'm in the group chat with. Indie Comics Empire, Ice, love you guys. Thank you so much for the feedback. Um, and yeah, I feel like I got it pretty good. Is it perfect? No, but no artwork is perfect. There's always room to improve, and I feel like if I kept doing this style, I could get better at it, maybe more efficient at it. But man, it's it definitely took a while to put this together, but I'm happy with the result. But yeah, I feel like the only thing about this cover is I feel like people might get clickbaited or cover baited because they might judge the book by its cover and say, "Oh, cool, this looks retro," and then first page like, "Oh, wait a minute, what the heck? This looks like a cartoon." So I might do a second cover that's in my style just to give people options. But for the moment, it's just that cover. So with that being said, introducing some new characters this time. We got Amy's mom. And again, I'm not going to go through the whole thing. I'm just going to show you a select couple of pages. Amy's mom makes an appearance, as well as her aunt. If any of you open the page and think, "Oh my God, Amy's got two lesbian moms." No, they're not lesbian moms. They're sisters. They're sisters. And they're quite contrasting. And I did that very much on purpose. Amy's mom is like the overprotective, ultra Christian who's like, you can't play Pokemon because it's demonic. Basically, is what Amy's mom would say. Whereas Lynn would be like, "Yo, is that a pentagram tattoo? Tattoo? Sweet." That's what Lynn would do. They're like total opposites, basically. Total opposite sisters, and I think that works. I gave her a few tattoos as well, so as different as they can be, with a few facial features being similar, but still looking different. Because like Amy's mom is, I mean, they're both kind of overweight, but Amy's mom is like much bigger, much fatter in the face, and. And I did this on purpose as well. The design of Lynn, and I'll talk more about it in the spoiler stream next week on Wednesday. But the design of Lynn is very specific, and some people might look at this and be like, "Oh, that's clickbait. You show me this hot woman in leather on the cover, and then here she is in the comic, and she's chubby and old, and what's going on?" But there's a reason for it. And it deals with her character arc in this volume. So definitely check that out. I'm gonna hide the source real quick while I'm scrolling through some pages. I don't. Oh, I almost forgot, but you know what? I'll show it on the next page. I'll show you the next one I want to show. I could skip ahead a little bit. Every single volume of Little Miss Steel has at least one metal or rock band reference, and this one is very obviously Avenged Sevenfold. And I decided the best way to parody the name is to make it a clothing store called Sevenfolds. I thought that was pretty clever. But I showed that to my friend who's a much bigger Avenged Sevenfold fan than me. He was laughing a lot at that. But the main villain, instead of M Shadows, which is the lead singer's name, at least that's his stage name, instead of M Shadows, it's M Vanish. And specifically, his full name is Matthew Van Ishing. So, not subtle at all with the name. This guy's power is going invisible, not invincible. Not invincible, invisible. So he gives that to his little gang thugs here. And what's funny to look at is if you paid attention to those guys' designs, if you go back to volume 2 and you look at the bank robbery scene, these guys look kind of similar, don't they? They look a little similar, huh? The idea, and I don't explicitly say it at all in the volume, but the idea is that like these guys are going to be sort of reoccurring like henchmen. And they might have different bosses. They might have different tools or abilities depending on who they're with, but they're lifetime criminals. They're lifelong criminals. They're in this for the long game. And after they got busted for the bank robbery, somehow they get out, and now they're with Matthew Van Eyshing. But they're not wearing the mask this time, because why do they need to wear a mask? They're invisible. It doesn't matter. So, but yeah, I decided to throw that in there just to kind of use that. It's not really much of a reference, but I guess it's just reoccurring characters. I felt like it makes the world a little smaller, because the last thing I want to do is have like a world that's too big, have too much stuff going on. Oh, this is the wrong volume. Have too many characters running around. I want it to be kind of neat, kind of tidy, and not an overwhelming amount of stuff to get into. So I feel like by establishing characters and introducing new ones every now and then, when it's appropriate, I feel like that's a better way to go about it. But that's just me. That's for this project. It could change for something else, you know. I mean, I am introducing new characters every single volume, but it's with the exception of 4, I suppose. No new characters appeared in that, but yeah, that's the idea. That's the idea. I feel like it's a little more subtle. Maybe not subtle is the word for it, but a little more organized, I'll say. I'll go ahead and show you this page. Yeah, I can show you this page. So, believe it or not, this is in the same comic. I decided to go with a little bit of a folktale story kind of thing, and to match that, I decided to go with like an old burnt paper look. And I feel like this turned out pretty good as far as the visuals for it. But the idea is, this is explaining Lynn's backstory. Now, Lynn, there's not really much of a plot twist. I've shared art of this before. Lynn has musical abilities. She can play her violin and cause things to levitate. And she explains this as like the lore behind this is that, you know, back in the early days of colonial America, basically her and Amy's ancestor, Melinda, is which, by the way, Melinda, I thought it was a good old woman name, like a previous centuries. I feel like there was a lot of women with Melinda as their name going around. But it's not really a reference, but the name came to me mainly because there's an Opeth song called Melinda, and Opeth kind of have this old, kind of mysterious, almost mystical feel to their music anyway. So I felt like it matched to use that name. It's not really much of a reference, but I mean that is one of the main inspirations for it. But yeah, so that's the idea. I wanted to portray this in sort of an old story thing, and to present it a little bit differently, to take a break from the usual visuals and have something a little more folklory. But let me hide this again. And man, there's a couple pages that are really funny that I want to show, but I can't because they're spoilers. There's also some really cool pages. I mean, the artwork, I always say this every time. Each volume, the artwork gets better. I'm always improving. I'm always trying to get better and better. But man, this time I feel like I've really gotten into a good flow for how I make backgrounds and character arcs and arts. I mean, and how I can reuse certain things, but change like the facial expression or change the position of the arms and stuff like that, and not have to redraw everything every single time I draw the characters in the scene. It allows me to save so much time and really just be as efficient as possible for what I'm trying to do here. But I do want to show this page. I already showed this one before. There you go. I already showed this one before with the henchmen being invisible and stuff. But some action here, folks. Check it out. Cool little action sequence. So she gets kicked in the stomach where she's not steeled up. Kicked in the stomach. And, of course, with her not being armored, she feels that sort of like a normal human would. She's still got some like durability overall. Like she's more durable than a human, even if she's not steeled up in certain places. But she's definitely still feeling that kick. The guy's foot is not the guy's foot kicked her metal part. His foot will be hurting because he just kicked solid metal. But if whenever he's kicking her normal human flesh, she's getting hurt. And so in response to this, she steels up her stomach, and the other henchman comes in, punches her in the face. And so this is actually using one of the unique things about Little Miss Steel compared to other heroes who have metal skin abilities, whether it's permanent or they can turn it off and turn it back on. The uniqueness here is that she can only do half. And because of that, these guys who have run into her before know her weakness and know that she can only do half her body. So they're basically, because they're invisible, they can afford to take their time and specifically plan where they're going to hurt her. So the first guy kicks her stomach, she steels up. The second guy punched her in the face. And then on this next page, V is steeled up the entire left half of herself. just completely confused, like not sure what to do next. She's steeled up like the left half of herself, and hears a voice behind her, turns down everything else from the top half and steels up her legs to kick, but ends up kicking a mannequin's head off. So this is more of a creative fight than stuff before, where she's actively having to deal with one of her weaknesses, which is the fact that she can only harden half of her body, up to half her body at a time. So I felt like this would be a good volume to do that, because these guys, other than being invisible, don't have anything special to them. Like they're not super strong or durable or anything. They're just invisible. So they have to be creative to fight Little Miss Steel. And if she can't see them, she can't do anything to them unless she just gets lucky. And they can do everything to her as long as they keep targeting her weak points. So I think that's all the art I want to show. Unfortunately, we've come to the point where I can't really show anything else because it's spoilers. But yeah, definitely check out Volume 7. Eclipse of the Heart, by the way, the name. I'll go ahead and go through all the names. But Eclipse of the Heart is Total Eclipse of the Heart, which is one of the biggest songs from the 80s and matches the theme of the volume as well. So I won't go into that anymore for spoilers' sake. But let's go over the names. Death Metal, name of the villain, kind of establishes the tone of the story as well. It establishes the running theme of rock and metal being a huge influence on the series. Like a Stone, Audio Slave, Chris Cornell, rest in peace. Makes sense. Stonehold, he's rock. What more can I say? The Devil in I is a song title from Slipknot, which is obviously the main reference of this volume. There's also a page where I drew Wayne Static from Static X. I just wanted to throw him in there because he's a very unique, or he was, rest in peace as well, a very unique looking individual. But Seeing Red Again, Chevelle reference. Raymond Clank has his mother's car in his skyscraper's bottom floor on Showcase, which is a red Chevelle. So the actual song is called The Red, but I felt like Seeing Red Again, one of the lyrics of the song, would be better instead of using the title. And it works as a double meaning because V is angry, so she's seeing red, and Death Metal, through the eyes of the visor, is always seeing red because he's got that red glow to it. And then episode 5, My Immortal, Evanescence. And that's a song that's dealing with grief, a song with dealing with losing a loved one. Matches that as well. One Shell of a Christmas. I mean, what can I say? I mean, look at the Christmas special, bro. Look at the Christmas special. Am I taking anything serious in the Christmas special? I've got a guy named Dr. Cooper with a turtle shell and mask with mechanical arms that's stealing presents for cash. He ends up getting defeated in 2 pages. So I'm not taking anything serious with this, obviously. But anyways, and then Living Dead Girl, Rob Zombie. There's a couple of Rob Zombie references in this. There's also a Britney Spears reference. I never listened to Britney Spears, but obviously she was huge in the 2000s, so of course I have to reference her. I'm trying to reference stuff that's not just appealing to me as a person. I'm trying to look at 2000s culture as a whole and try to incorporate it in there. But there's other references I haven't mentioned. There's a Creed, a bunch of Creed references in song titles from a reporter in Volume 4. The guy also appears in Volume 5, but I don't have a song title to use there. So yeah, so I've gone through. Is that how you spell this? Eclipse is Eclipse. Oh no! Oh no! Hold on, I misspelled it. Hold on, I misspelled it. Eclipse. There we go. Save changes. Spared, ladies and gentlemen. We're spared. But yeah, so that's basically all I wanted to do for this stream. I just wanted to get on and let everyone know that Volume 7 is live right now. The link is in the description of this stream. If you just click it, you'll see it. But just in case, why not? Why not just put it in the chat, right? There it is right there. Now you have no excuse. Now you have to click it. It's right there in front of you. How could you not? It's so easy. And it's free. The whole comic series is free. I'm losing so much money by not charging people to read it. But you know what? That's fine. The point is the story. The point is putting it out there for people to enjoy it. And I recognize that in these tough economic times, people cannot afford it. So I understand that, and no shame in you if you just read this for free. However, there is another. That didn't really sound like Yoda, but anyway. Ko-Fi, you can get physical copies, ladies and gentlemen. You can get physical copies of Little Miss Steel, volumes 1 through 3 for $35 or $15 each. Volumes 4 through 6 for $35, or volumes 1 through 5 for $50. Volume 7 is not available on the shop yet, but it will be. So stay tuned for that if you are collecting these things, which a lot of you people are collecting it in person, and I appreciate it. I sell these things at local events, and I sold out of everything I had a couple weeks ago, and that was pretty awesome. Pretty awesome to see. So I've since started reordering stuff, and it's great. It's great. I can't wait to see what people think of Volume 7 once I print those and get them in your hands. So with all that being said, I'm going to go ahead and hop off and get me something to eat. Thank you guys so much for watching. It has been a great stream. Great stream going over everything. And I hope you really enjoy Volume 7. It's really good. It's really fun. It's great. It's Amy's birthday, and her cool aunt is in Phoenix to celebrate. Unbeknownst to Little Miss Steel, Lynn has some wicked secrets, even some about her father, Night Vision. Dun, dun, dun. So yeah, definitely check that out, guys. Definitely check it out. But yeah, that's basically it. So thanks so much for watching. Stay tuned for Wednesday, the next Wicked Wednesday stream, unless something comes up. It's going to be the spoiler stream for this. If something else comes up that's more topical that I feel led to talk about, I may do that instead. But if that's the case, then the spoiler stream will be next Friday. So, but yeah, stay tuned. Follow me on Twitter, EV Comics. It's EV Comics everywhere. So just follow me there. Stay up to date on when I'm streaming next, and subscribe and hit the bell to get notified. That's the easiest way to figure out when I'm streaming. Is just to hit that freaking bell. But with all that being said,